Hello YouTube and YouTube viewers, it is Cody Williams again, and this is episode 2 of Balloon Artist Q&A, where you can ask a Balloon Artist questions. Now, in the beginning of the video, we're going to have the 5 questions again posted somewhere, and during the video, annotations about which question you're on, so you can fast forward if you just don't care. So, the next 5 questions are going to start off with really restaurant-based, and a couple, party-based, a lot of pricing going on, and someone asked a little bit about politics in the very end. So, without further ado, questions for you. Question number 1 was asked by the drummer 98. And he asked me, how do you get your restaurant gigs? So for getting restaurants, you gotta do a free tryout. Or you don't have to, but that's how I do it. I go into restaurant between 2 and 4 p.m. It's their slowest time. I pick Thursdays normally because the GMs are usually there this day. Friday's pretty busy for them, and Monday is really busy for them. Because even though the restaurant's slow, that's the day they catch up on, back office invoices and, stocking, things like that. Inventory, that's what I want. So I go in on Thursday around 3 o'clock, between 2 and 4, and I seek out the GM. If the GM's not there, I leave. I don't pitch, I don't leave a card behind, I don't leave a balloon behind, I just come back. I want to talk to him face to face, I want to get him off guard. If you get someone off guard, it's easier to lead a conversation. So, it's what I do, your own way, you can, leave clues behind if you want, but. So I come in, I tell the GM, hi, my name's Cody Williams, I work with QT Entertainment, we put balloon artists in restaurants, I tell them, our details of our company, how we work. And I tell him that, I'd like to come in a night that you're there, give him a free demonstration so he can see how his guests react to my service, and that we are fully insured, artist pass background checks, we give it a reliable schedule, so it fits really well in your marketing budget, and we give you posters as well. But for the tryout, it's just one day, we come in, it's free, no strings attached. If you don't like it halfway through, we can leave right then, but I'm sure you won't. So I do that, and I come back at night, he's there. I try to schedule it that week, like that Friday night is good, that weekend, right away. As long as he's there to witness it, it's good because you want them to be impressed. And right after the tryout, I try closing the deal, and I don't tell them prices until after the tryout. Sometimes they really want to hear them, and I'll tell them, but I really try to keep prices out of question until they do the tryout and they really like me. That way it's like, I want this, how much is this? So during the tryout day, I do tell tables, hey, this is a tryout for the restaurant. I think this is a good idea. Small comment on the way out goes a long way to bring us back and see you every week. A lot of families really will do that for you. Now, question 1.A is about how much do I charge restaurants. So this was asked by Buzz, 4050, and the Do-It-All Guy, 99. So, depends. Depends on how much I want to work there. Depends on if it's a corporate store versus a mom and pop store. I charge corporate stores less because they're really good about being cheap. So mom and pop stores also, I don't like them as much, even though they can charge more because they're not as good at paying their invoices on time. As when you go through, the marketing department, they pay pretty quick. When you're a vendor, sometimes there's a 30-day turnover, but at least they're reliable. I've never had a restaurant not pay their invoice. Except for one, small pop store, and to go in person and be like, hey guys, remember this invoice I gave you? So if I use a restaurant, if they use me twice a week, I give them a price break. I give them $50 a ship. A ship is between 2 and 3 hours. I tell them it's for their rush. So if it gets really slow, I can leave early. And if it's really busy, I'm going to stay behind because I'm making pretty decent in tips in a restaurant. The average tip in a restaurant is about $5. You're at a table for about 2 to 5 minutes. So it's not bad. I average around $30, $40 an hour in a restaurant. So. In tips, and then I charge them $50 to be there, so you'll walk out of an IHOP with $200 in cash, plus your $50 invoice for the day, and then you come back the next day. So about $50 for twice a week, $75 if it's once a week. Now, a pretty important thing with pricing in restaurants is, granted, they're not paying your full rate. And there's 2 reasons for this. One, you're doing it every week or every other week. If they're doing monthly, I'm not very cheap for them. I'm pretty close to my normal rate. But weekly and bi-weekly, I'm giving a discount because it's consistent work all the time. I'm getting tips, and I'm giving out business cards to every single table. That's my main form of marketing. Business cards at tables. I give out about 80 cards a night. And every Monday morning, I start answering calls for birthday parties. Sometimes I book them at the restaurant too. But anyways, so pricing. Oh, another reason for that is restaurants won't pay to have a great experience and a good time like birthday parties. Grand openings will. Restaurants want something they can make profit off of. So if you're charging $50 a shift, it's not much more than a cook. It's really not. It's it does, belittle our entertainment, our profession a little bit. When they ask for free, it's offensive. But, so anyways, and the reason for that pricing, again, is so that they can make a profit off of it. So if you're charging $50, If 10 or some tables come in, each spend $50 at a table, it's a lot of revenue being generated because you're there. The tables wouldn't have been there if you weren't there. Explain that to a manager when I pitch it, or when landing it, to actually start invoicing them, and they'll agree with it. And also that tells them, oh, I can put this in my marketing budget, not just a petty cash drawer. So if it goes in the marketing budget and you go through vendor services, which I usually prefer, then yeah, they have no problem keeping you for a long time, because marketing budget, it's a pretty big budget and you're pretty small in the grand scheme of that. So marketing budget, get in there, it's great, especially corporate stores, because you don't need to invoice that store, you're invoicing a big head somewhere and they give you money. Question number 7. I hope that answered the restaurant questions. Not 7, sorry, 10 in the series, 2 in this episode. Miss Flamingo 14 asks me, several restaurants in my town cater to families with children. I enjoy pushing for kids, but don't know if it would work well in a restaurant. Would you discuss how I approach the kids, or they me? Would I do better with a tip jar, be paid by the restaurant, or charge per twisted item, etc.? Thank you. So this, it could have been a B of the question, but anyway, so, 1, 2, B, not, B isn't like, anyways. So, restaurants, when I'm working in them, I go table to table. I don't like having a booth, I don't like them coming up to me. Some artists like it, I really don't. And the reason for that is I've done them both. You make better in tips going to the table because it's more dinner and a show. You're really more actively approaching and engaging your audience. You're doing better at sales, basically. And they're more likely to, tip you at all. Because parents will be there. They send kids to the front, they might send them empty-handed, like, oh, there's a balloon guy, they must pay him really well to be here, get out of here. So I go to tables. I don't do a tip jar since I'm mobile. I do wear a tip button. I've got a lot of variations of goofy ones you can get from Rocky 5 Engraving. I'll try to remember to put a link in here. If I forget, someone comment and tell me to. But anyways, and I twist for tips. I work for tips. Suggested tips, $76,096,390.32. My cell phone number, 760-963-9632. So I have that on there too. I just a bunch of different buttons for that. Tipping is not a city in China. That's a badge on my apron itself. So I have tip buttons, and I sometimes wear 5, sometimes I don't. If you wear a $5 bill, your average tip's $5. If you don't wear it, it can go from $20 tip to $1 tip. It's really more of a fluctuation when you're wearing a bill. When you're not wearing a bill, I mean to say. So I approach tables, I wear a tip button, and I do not charge. Because then you're soliciting a restaurant, and if a restaurant's paying you to be there, and then you're charging, it's a can of worms you don't want to open. So, don't charge, work for tips. If you ask me what a good tip is, I say a small balloon, small tip, big balloon, a big tip. It's up to you. Depends on how much you like me. And after I say that, oh, that's worth a nickel, I guess. Something funny like that you do. If they get really adamant, like, really, I need to know what to tip you. I have no idea. I tell them that when I'm working a party where I am charging, or I'm working a fair or a ball game or something, I charge $1 per every balloon that I use. So a sword's $1, Spider-Man is $5. It depends on how many balloons you count me using. And I tell them that's when I charge. That gives you an idea, that's not how much you tip, that's just what I charge when I do, and that gives you some information about balloon prices. Alright, next! Actually, this was a 2B. It was by TJ Temple. Thought a couple more. On average, how long do you spend on each balloon for line work and for restaurant work? When working for tips, do you use a chip jar or wear a button? I wear a button, as I mentioned, not a jar. Each balloon I use is under 5 minutes, and it's between 1 and 4 balloons. Under 4 minutes, 1 to 5 balloons. I'm sorry, dyslexia got the best of me again. That's why if you notice my tutorials are all pretty much designs you can make in under 5 minutes, or under 4 minutes. I've got that whole 0 to Pro DVD. All of those designs are really restaurant-based and party-based. Not as much line-based. If you want line-based, the Quick Link body, the Quick Links DVD, that's very line-based. That's a clown balloon, I call it, where you don't need to be too experienced twisting to make a really cool creation using, special balloons. So, yeah, so I try to be quick. I try to be 3 minutes each person. I don't want to be the balloon artist that's pumping out swords and guns and, dinosaur, little easy things, simply because I want them to see it, and I'm willing to make them wait if they're willing to wait for a cooler balloon, because it makes me look better and gets me hired more. I don't want to be that old balloon factory making one balloon animals. I never want to do that. So, tip jar, tip button, not a jar. That's how long I spend and how much balloons I use. Okay. Question number 3, by R2 Puppet. And Travis Boncour. R2D2, R2 Puppet, I don't know. I have been twisting for a while, but recently started doing parties for friends. For friends that are seeing my art and asking me to do the parties for their kids. I'm not sure about a proprietary price. Typo. I'm not sure about a proprietary price to charge for these new parties. Okay, so basically, you do parties for free. Your friends of friends see it. You don't know them that well, so you're not going to do it for free for them. They want to pay you and hire you. So that question works also just for entering the industry or however you are, how much you charge for birthday parties. I'm going to run over my time. Oh, I'll just make 2 clips. So, blah. All right, it's asked me, and then Travis McClure specifically asked me, do I charge per kid or per hour? Kind of both. I don't do a per kid price, like if you know snow cone businesses, they come and they charge per child. It's all right, you have 15 kids, all right, it's gonna cost this much, and then if they do more or less, they change the invoice at the end for their client. For a balloon artist, I don't like doing that, and also you never know, because parents invite, RSVP 15 kids. Sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 17. Or even more. So that happens, that's a thing. So I do by hour. I'm saying a lot, sorry. I don't rehearse my answers, I just read them off and start talking on my head. Like I mentioned in the intro video, I'm not always right, this is my opinion. So I charge per hour for 15 kids, because I tell them, hour doesn't mean I'm there for 60 minutes, it means I'm there for about an hour. If I'm done with all the kids, and I got 5 minutes off the clock, I might just leave, if you're satisfied. If it's been 60 minutes, there's 1 or 2 kids left, I'm not gonna charge you more, I'm just gonna get the last 2 kids done. Like, you already paid me a pretty large sum of your personal, private, hard-earned money, just, for me to work with the kids. So, I charge per hour. I charge locally $125 for the first hour, $100 for additional hours. So that's my price. I don't mind letting anyone know. Some people say I'm charging too little. Some people say I'm charging too much. It depends on your market and what you're getting booked at. If you're booking a lot of parties in a weekend, raise your price. If you're not booking many, maybe lower it or work on your PR and your advertising. For a balloon artist though, your averaging price you want is $100 per hour. Don't go under 80 at all. Unless you're doing 4, 6, 9 hours in a day or something like that. You can cut a break. Or you're working in a restaurant, you cut a break. But for birthday parties and private events, is it still going? Good. For birthday parties and private events, you charge about $100 an hour. And I tell them that each balloon takes about 4 minutes, and there is, there are 15 4-minute sets in an hour. 60 divided by 4 is 15. So I can take care of 15 kids at 4 minutes apiece for a birthday party. If you want me to make simpler things, I can go a little bit more, but I'm not going to do more than 20 in an hour, no matter what, because I'm not going to make them sorts. And even 20 is extremely pushing it, and 20 is usually an hour and a half party. So hour and a half, I charge $150 or so. Yeah, $150 and then, no, I charge $125 an hour and a half, and $225, yeah. Old prices from 5 years ago, I can't remember what I charge half the time. It's on the website somewhere, go to the website, look it up. But anyway, so I do hour and a half price. I don't really give much of a price break an hour and a half. I give a bigger price break for 2 hours. So yeah, it's $175 for an hour and a half. $225, I think. 2 hours? I can't remember. Anyways, I should have rehearsed some answers, I guess. But anyway, so also I do cheaper for if I'm doing unicycling or juggling, those are cheaper than balloon parties because no overhead. But yeah, so your average price you want to do is about $100 per hour. And I don't charge them per kid. I tell them about how many kids I can do in an hour. And if I get there and there's 30 kids, I tell the parent right away, I'm sorry, but are you willing to book an extra hour? If not, I'm not going to get started. I'm just going to cancel this party. Because I know it can't be done in an hour. I'm not willing to do an hour for free. And I asked you how many kids are going to be there. And you either like me or something else happened, who knows. I usually don't attack it like that though. I tell them, hey, I won't be able to do this in an hour. Do you understand? And usually they're like, okay, yeah, we'll book you longer, however. They're usually really okay with it. But just know what you can handle in an hour. If you're different, tell them differently. So I do hourly. It's not 60 minutes exactly. It's, average. Number 4 is asked by Darling Diapers. I find that, this is really similar, should be the same question. I find that the bar is set high sometimes with bigger, better, time-consuming sculptures being expected to be churned out at the rate of $15.25 per hour, which 1, isn't doable, and 2, leaves absolutely no time for interaction with the receiver. Very true. Have you run across this? Do you have a list of go-to sculptures in your mind that look quite large and impressive, but take 4 minutes or less? I would love to, that's funny, she said 4 minutes. I would love to know how you balance expectation with reality in a positive way. Thank you. Again, I like sticking to 4 minutes in my balloons. And most of my designs I target at 4 minutes. So yes, like I just mentioned earlier, 15 to 25 an hour is 25 is not doable in an hour. So 15 an hour though is my doable number there. And I do leave a little extra room for interaction with children. So really that question was answered in the last one, I guess. But yeah, my go-to sculpture designs are definitely quick link stuff. I bring a lot of those, and pre-shaping rounds save your behind so much in a hurry. Like monkey faces especially, done versus, twisting it up. Ninjas are really cool with the pre-prints and the quick link body. It's 2 minutes, out, done. So if you want some good balloons for that, try out my DVDs. They're all meant to be like that, good, impressive, big balloons that are done in a hurry. Yeah, so. Yeah, that really was all answered in the last question. Number 10 was asked by the Green Adder. What the heck are good old-fashioned balloon politics? Oh, I see heck, I have to do an accent, I'm sorry. What the heck are good old-fashioned balloon politics? I'm a hobbyist, and I've done only 3 events, all pro bono. So, politics in balloons are really just how we protect our market. So, professional working balloon artists are pretty adamant about keeping the prices up there. They don't want to get undercut, especially because hobby twisters will come in and they don't realize what they're doing because they're doing a good deed. They're really, from the bottom of the heart, they're doing good. And they're giving out free parties, making people happy. That's what they're doing. And there's nothing really wrong with that, except for what someone's doing that for a profession and for an income, you're hurting their market. So balloon politics are there to protect their market, as well as try and give credit to where, who started what industries and, who created this design. When it comes to balloon politics in the realm of teaching and sharing, I don't always agree very well with a lot of other people think. One thing, if you haven't noticed, I do YouTube videos, but I also am not big on simple designs on YouTube, and I don't go slow. It's not because I'm trying to be showing off or anything like that. When I do pattern and tricks, I want you to learn my pattern and tricks, and I want you to replicate them. So when I'm entertaining with balloons, I'm doing tutorials, it's because I want that to rub off on you, and I want you to not be a robot when you twist. And when it comes to the designs, if you bought a bag of balloons and you learned how to do balloons from YouTube or something, you bought a bag, I don't know how do I word that more delicately. So we're trying to avoid someone learning from YouTube when it comes to balloon politics with learning, because we don't want someone that doesn't know what's happening and they don't, they didn't go to convention, they don't know any balloon artists, they bought balloons at Walmart, learned 6 shapes off of Floyd or Hopper or Fudge. Something like that, and then to make these designs, and it can hurt our market, because we're teaching you on YouTube like that to be a hobbyist, to have fun and play with them. But when they start working as balloon artists, it's scary, and it scares a lot of the original balloon artists out there, and it's where learning politics comes into play. And that's why I said my videos, I go fast, because you can't really learn from my videos out the gate. If you buy balloons watching videos, you're gonna get so frustrated you're gonna stop. Because my videos are to help existing artists get better, and I want to reach out to the rest of the community and help any way that I can, and that's why I volunteer so much of my time doing these videos. And that's also why I'm doing these Q&A videos, is I want balloon artists and hobbyists that are getting into working as balloon artists to not hurt themselves or hurt others, charge appropriately, and how to be professional in certain situations. Because it's easy to learn how to do balloons, it's not easy to learn the right etiquette about balloons. So balloon politics or balloon etiquette, essentially. Now for pricing, which I think is what you really meant, because you mentioned in the end, pricing and pro bono, but it's hard to say because politics covers such a broad spectrum of the balloon world. So for pricing, politics and birthday parties, that's really big. When you say you do all events all pro bono, you really might offend a balloon artist. Because they don't know what you're doing pro bono. They don't know if it's a friend of yours or you're just going out there saying, oh, well, because if a client calls me and I tell them, my price, and they say, well, we had this guy that'll do it for free. Well, I can't compete with that. I'm sure I'm better because I'm charging, and therefore if they're doing it for free, they're probably not as good as me because they haven't been doing it as long, and it's not their profession. They might be amazing artists, but they're not, it's not their profession. So good luck, hope they have insurance. But it's really tough. So the worst thing for balloon politics, I will say, is working in restaurants for free. That's the one thing that I'm pretty with all of the original old school balloon politic artists, is that don't do a restaurant for free. Do not do it, because you're lowering the market so much. I've had artists tell me that my price is too low, hurting the market. And it's like, you know what, sure, when you average out numbers, mine's kind of low, but nothing hurts a market average more than 0. And then it insults your community, and it tells, you know, restaurant owners and GMs that, oh, we don't have to pay a balloon artist, they'll come do it for free. They pay their servers who aren't giving away material. A balloon artist spent money and lots of time learning their profession, which is a profession, not a, you know, skill. So that their profession, and they're giving away balloons they paid for on their own. How, you know, how can you not think to pay them? How can you assume they're gonna be free? That is absolutely terrible. And we can't fuel that mindset by doing it for free. Now, if you're working for an agency and you're free for the agency is charging, that's okay. And here's why I say it's okay. Other artists will say it's the worst, it's even worse, but here's why it's okay. Money is still being paid for the service. Now, this agency is cutting out, you know, paying free. Sometimes they're insuring you, sometimes they're giving you balloons, whatever, maybe they're paying you a small amount of it. But the restaurant is paying for the balloon artist to be there, regardless. So whether, you know, that money's going to the artist or not, at least the restaurant is paying. That's the most important thing. And for balloon politics only, I'm saying, the most important thing is that that restaurant is paying. So if you're doing events pro bono, make sure that it's only things you really support and care about, and make sure you're not stepping on some other artist's toes. It's really tough when you're in an area with a lot of balloon artists like Phoenix or Orange County or something like that, or Tampa. Wow. That's what's really tough, because you never know who's in that blind auction or what they're charging. So balloon politics are all set in place to preserve our market, both for, you know, teaching balloon artists, because there's a market for teaching balloon artists and, you know, DVD sales, and then there's the market of, you know, restaurants and prices and birthday parties and prices. So balloon politics covers all of that. So I'd really like to make a whole video just about politics. I don't agree with all of them, but I understand where all of them are coming from for the most part, because I've been in the community long enough, gone to more conventions than I can count. I've met so many amazing balloon artists, and a lot of them, the older generation, which really need to be respected in what they do, because they started this, they paved the way for us, and some new artists come in, learn some cool stuff from YouTube, and then they just bulldozer through, and they don't really realize the destruction in their wake. So balloon politics are to help artists help themselves. So Green Adder, make sure, you know, your events, it's great that you're practicing, it's great that you're getting into it. You should start charging a little bit, because, I mean, we want you in the industry, we want you playing with us, we want you making balloons with us. You gotta be careful though with pro bono gigs. And that's why it sounds like you've had someone say this to you before by asking that question. And that's where they're coming from. It has nothing against you. Balloon politics, you're never targeting an artist, you're never angry at an artist. If you are, that person's in the wrong, not the artist that's being lectured on. Because ignorance is an excuse when it comes to things like this. And that's why these videos are here, so to bring awareness to certain actions, and, you know, to let artists know, here's the information that you didn't have. Because YouTube and balloon DVDs you can buy anywhere teach you balloons, not when to use them. With great balloon power comes great responsibility. So that's balloon politics for learning and for pricing. And I do try to withhold balloon politics in my lessons and my YouTube series. That's why my tutorials are fast. It's not because I'm showing off, it's because I'm trying to preserve it so that new artists can't watch it, existing artists can. And also, it's a lot nicer when you're an experienced artist to learn a design just twisting along versus fast forwarding a lot. Because even a new artist can press pause. So that is balloon politics for learning and for pricing. Next 10 or 5 questions, next 5 questions will be next video. So, you guys have a great day today, a better tomorrow. Bless you guys. This is a pretty long episode, but stay tuned for episode 3.